Hi, this is Brian Bieron with PlatformEconomyInsights.com, and I'm going to try to give a quick briefing on what government investigators are looking for as we're reading about and hearing about different competition authorities and other investigators asking market participants, meaning other companies and other people who are operating in the same digital markets as the biggest digital platforms, asking them what they are seeing and what they are hearing. So, who are these digital platforms? We know that governments in the United States and around the world are looking at Facebook, Google, Apple, and Amazon in particular. Now, it's very complicated, and I'm going to do a separate, hopefully short video listing off the number of agencies that are looking at these companies in different ways. Just in the United States, we've got the Department of Justice, the Federal Trade Commission, we have congressional committees in the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate. We also have attorneys generals essentially working in different groups, looking at, in the case of the attorney generals, Facebook and Google in particular. So we heard this week that Snap Inc., the company that uses the Snap, that has the Snap app, essentially put together what was described as a dossier of various nefarious activities that they thought Facebook had engaged in over nearly a decade, targeting their ability, Snap's ability to grow. And this apparently followed an effort by Facebook to acquire Snap, which Snap rebuffed. So that made a lot of news, number one, because apparently it's a very detailed dossier of activities that Snap claims are very problematic from a legal perspective and a business perspective, but also because they titled it the Voldemort Project, which apparently references the bad guy in the Harry Potter books. So I just thought I would go through and say and talk about why it is that governments engage in these kind of inquiries. And it's because, in particular in competition cases where you're dealing with the potential of monopolies abusing their position, or large dominant companies, not to use the word monopoly, but large dominant businesses using their position in the market to undermine competitors, one of the things government investigators do is go talk to those competitors. And they try to do it in as confidential a way as possible. So I guess it's probably best to think of what Snap has revealed. It's kind of an iceberg. We see and hear about Snap. My suspicion is that you have many other smaller companies who are engaged in pretty much the same thing. Some of them, government is going and reaching out to them. Other times, they are reaching out to the government investigators themselves. And an example of the government reaching out would be, for example, the story that recently appeared that the U.S. House of Representatives Judiciary Committee had reached out to more than 80 companies in the digital marketplace, asking them apparently a range of questions about their dealings with these big companies. And so that's just one example. Probably government investigators in all the different government agencies and national governments that are looking at these companies are engaged in a pretty similar set of activities. Another piece of news that came out was that a similar kind of digital platform inquiry was underway in Canada. And in fact, the news was that the Canadian Competition Authority was engaged in this very kind of information request process. And so I thought it offered a quick opportunity to list the kinds of topics that they were asking market participants about. They included activities that would involve the dominant companies protecting their core market or leveraging their dominance in one market into an adjacent market, refusals to deal, self-preferencing, which is something that was a core part of, for example, the European Union's Competition Commission's case against Google on the Google shopping case was very much a self-preferencing case, as well as investigations that are underway in Europe aimed at Amazon and how they potentially are dealing with their own products or other users of their services in competition with others. And then the issue of acquisitions. Why are acquisitions a big topic? Well, one of the issues that's been raised in many forums has been the idea that these dominant platform businesses are aggressively using acquisitions to undermine future competition, essentially identifying potential competitors in the future. This links in with the idea that these giant platforms have access to so much data, so much knowledge, that they have greater insights than others into who will become a future competitor, and that they go in and acquire them in order to, instead of face a new competitor in the future, merge very often the technology or the people into their current already giant platform business. So we're seeing acquisitions popping up in many inquiries around the world. So these are the topics that the Canadians are asking about. We're seeing similar topics raised in Europe, both at the European Union level, but also Germany, Italy, France, the UK, not quite sure how long the UK counts as the EU, but the UK, Korea, Japan, Brazil, it's on and on. So this was an opportunity, I thought, to go through what some of these big topics are. If you have any questions about this, there's a link below as to how to email us here at platformeconomyinsights.com. I hope I've kept this short enough to make it viewable. And again, this is Brian Bieron with platformeconomyinsights.com. Until our next briefing, this has been a rundown of the topics that government investigators are asking about when it comes to the dominant platform businesses. Bye-bye.